All right, everyone, welcome back to the I Heart Stocks edition of Lunch of the Market. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone out there, and we certainly love all of our readers at stockpicker.com, all of our followers at Twitter, and our viewers on YouTube for Lunch of the Market. Although we'll leave the hugging and kissing up to your significant other, we certainly appreciate you tuning in today and every day for Lunch of the Market. But sincerely, thank you from all of us at Magnum Opus Financial, and we look forward to another fantastic year. All right. Even though most of you got to relax this weekend as we drove back and forth from Orlando, Florida to North Carolina for the World Money Show that was in Orlando, Florida, we're going to give you those nuggets that we got out of there, even though you guys got to relax, and you really should be doing your own homework. James Altucher was fantastic. He basically did a stand-up routine that brought down the house, and he threw in a whole bunch of stock ideas and macro trends and some really good numbers that basically back up his bullish thesis as to why really the economic recovery is just getting started here in the United States and around the world. Now, you should all attend the World Money Show because it's basically free. Well, unless you stay at the Gaylord Palms Hotel and Resort, which is actually $300 or more a night. But we, as the cheap entrepreneurs that we are, stayed at a nice budget motel about a mile down the road in which we could actually walk to the Gaylord Palms for free. Well, the walk was free. The room was not much more than free, and we got to partake of the conference. It happens this time every year in Orlando, Florida, and you can actually catch the expos, the traders expos that take place in LA and New York and other places around the world. And then they do actually do the World Money Show. I think they do it from Las Vegas. They do it from a couple other locations around the world. So you can actually go to worldmoneyshow.com, check that out. You know, always feel free to say hi if you're down there, because we're usually at the Orlando one. So feel free to see which speakers we're going to listen to and which publicly traded companies we're grilling their investor relations department. We'll bring you another pick from a Brazilian utility company that we were pretty impressed with, that we talked to the investor relations department while we were down there. They did an incredible job, very well put together, bilingual, both they could speak to us in Portuguese and in English, so that lets you kind of key in on which Latin American country we're talking about. And we'll bring you that pick tomorrow, but for today we want to talk about what was a fantastic piece of information that we got from Keith Fitzgerald, who writes the New China Trader newsletter. It's part of another service that you can actually get for free. I think it's called Money Morning. Forgive me, Keith, if I got that wrong, but yeah, you can always Google Keith Fitzgerald and New China Trader, and then you can find out the different services and things they have to subscribe to. One of the things that we really liked, you know, the naysayers, the bears when it comes to China, have talked a lot about accounting issues. They've talked about numbers that the government reports that are, you know, blown way out of proportion, and we've certainly heard over and over again that China's a bubble just waiting to pop. It was really nice to hear from someone like Keith, who has actually been on the ground in China for over 20 years. He goes to China 4 or 5 times a year, actually periodically, about every other year, brings subscribers of the New China Trader out to China. They go and see Chinese companies, both small cap and you know, some of the bigger companies, and they'll go see, you know, the western part of China, which is the part that rarely gets written about because that's the part that's still not industrialized, and then they'll take you to some of the major cities in China. So anyway, go ahead and check that out. But what was really nice that we got from Keith Fitzgerald was the secret to investing in Chinese equities is to take a look at who their independent auditor is. If it's one of the big 5, you're talking KPMG, you're talking Deloitte & Touche, you're talking PricewaterhouseCoopers, BDO, those guys. If you get a big 5 auditor, then really you can kind of ignore a lot of the static that you hear surrounding the accounting issues with these Chinese companies that are publicly listed in the United States. It is a big deal. Several firms have tried to take down Chinese companies on rumors that they're basically fictitious companies, that these auditing, the results are just completely made up, and that there's no merit to them. And you really have to be careful of this because if they have a big 5 auditor, then you really actually can trust the results that are coming out of there. All those guys certainly learned from Enron that if they want to continue to be a company, that they have to produce audited results that you can trust. And so the key to investing in China is to look for who the independent auditor is, and if it's one of the big 5, then you can trust it. Now, The real edge would be if you can find out which of the Chinese companies that are auditors that you can trust, right? Because pretty much those who are serious about investing in China already know, but to be honest, that was one of the things that we'd heard for the first time. I don't know why it didn't occur to us previous, but that's really good advice. And in fact, James Altucher echoed that same sentiment in at least one of the times that he spoke, and other players that talked about investing in China all said the same thing, right? So last year it was about kind of debunking the myth that China is a bubble. This year was about, look, if you can trust the auditing, then you really can trust the numbers. And in fact, Keith Fitzgerald pointed out that the SEC is actually going after these firms that are producing legitimate results in their investigation, when they're really just shooting out one-liners, accusing a company of being completely fictitious, and then profiting from short-selling the company. It's not really a fair way to do business, and it certainly makes it hard for you as an individual investor to stay in there with some conviction. So as long as you've done your homework and you found out who the independent auditor is, and it's one of the big 5 global firms, then you can probably sit back and relax when it comes to trusting the results or not. That's not to say that you want to invest in every company that is audited by a big 5. But it can work the other way, right? If you really like the Chinese company, you've done your homework, you feel like they have a good business model, and they have a big 5 accounting firm, you can go with it. But you can't just say, let's pull me up all the Chinese companies that have big 5 accounting firms, let's invest in those. Okay, so it works one way, but not the other. Now, we'll give you a freebie because we did do our homework. China Biotics, CHBT. We did a show on them for Lunch of the Market back in December 22nd of 2009, again in December the 20th of 2010. So apparently right around Christmas, we like to give you this gift every year about China Biotics, and then periodically we give you updates throughout the year via Twitter. Again, the ticker symbol is CHBT. Their independent auditor is BDO. They've specifically used the Hong Kong office. Not a big surprise considering they're in mainland China. We got this information from speaking with the Investor Relations Department on a phone call. And so, that's a good way to find out, is to pick up the phone and call the Investor Relations Department. Every well-run company has an Investor Relations Department. You'll find that information on their website. And China Biotics is ours. We certainly like that story. We've been in and out. We actually added to long 2013 12.5 calls in China Biotics this morning. The stock looks like it's holding up okay today. All right, so I hope that helps. China is certainly a profitable place to invest. It's been pretty ugly as of late, but again, the secret is to find out if they have one of the big 5 auditors. If they do, then you should be able to trust their accounting results. And then once you've done your homework and find a story that you like that supports the demographics in China, then go ahead and dip your toes in there. But the key to that is to doing your homework and finding out who the auditor is. Thanks again for tuning in today. Check out the Traders Expo, which I think is in New York City next week. I think it's Monday and Tuesday maybe. You can also catch the World Money Show around the world, like we said. And of course, we'll be back in Orlando this time next year for the World Money Show. And next month, we'll be in Orlando again for Invest Like a Monster. You can go to our website, go to Investor Education, click on Investor Tools, and you'll see Trade Monster right on the top left. Go ahead and click on it. Click on the link that says Learn More, and you can get the dates for Invest Like a Monster. And we'll hopefully see you in March in Orlando, Florida for Invest Like a Monster. Thanks for tuning in again today. Happy Valentine's Day, and we will see you tomorrow.